Welcome to Con Man Cocktails. Today I'm going to show you how to make an A.M.F. I'm going to explain to you what an A.M.F. is after 30 seconds has gone by because it'll be better for advertising. This drink, we're going to build it. And the point here is to show you that you can go to the store, you can get yourself a $15 to $20 cocktail at a fancy bar in New York. I've proven it in one of our last videos on the Blue Hawaii. This entire cocktail, buying all the ingredients per cocktail, the price is roughly $4.44 a cocktail. Of course, the upfront investment is going to be a little bit more because you're going to need all these spirits. If you've watched the show or you've done any of the other drinks that I've done on a budget, you probably already have a gin or maybe a tequila and some blue curacao and definitely some rum. Vodka, come on. Nobody wants vodka. You just buy vodka because you're forced to peer pressure-wise. Just kidding. I just don't like vodka. This is the recipe breakdown for an Adios Motherf cker. That's the name of the drink. Think of it as a Long Island iced tea. Sub out cola, replace with Sprite, blue curacao instead of an orange liqueur, because blue curacao is an orange liqueur. I'm going to explain that in detail because this is actually something inspired from one of our user comments. The A.M.F. is going to be 1/2 ounce, just like a Long Island iced tea. Vodka, rum, tequila, gin, blue curacao, 2 ounces of sour mix. I made my own sour mix, fresh sour mix. I saved money. Okay, I probably didn't save money, but you could go buy some cheap ass sour mix and it'll taste like absolute butthole. It'll just be sweet and like syrupy and it's going to taste weird. That's fine. That's what you want to do. You love preservatives and all that stuff. Great. You're already preserving yourself with alcohol. Go ahead, do whatever you want. But to make your own sour mix is going to be 1 ounce of lemon, 1 ounce of lime, 2 ounces of simple syrup. It's really not that complicated. And if you keep simple syrup around, you've already got that. You just squeeze in a lemon, a lime, some simple syrup, done. And you could change that recipe to make it more sweet, more sour, depending on your likes, tastes, and loves. So here we go. We're going to build this in a glass. I'm going to put it in a Chicago highball glass. I believe these are available at awesomedrinks.com, my store. I don't know if they're in stock right now. I got my Sprite. I was going to use a Sprite Zero, but I said, you know what? We're going to need the added sweetness to compare with this because everything else is boozy, right? So you can build it over ice. That's what I'm going to do. Primarily not because, you know, the general rule is you don't want to put your ice in too early because you're going to dilute down the drink. You're going to have too much water in there. That's often true. I'm going to use 3 cubes to start. But because of the glass, if I keep pouring it in there, I don't want to put the ice in last and find out it overflows. That would suck. So here we go. We're going to start with our vodka. You always start with the least worthy of ingredients. What's less worthy than that? It's going to be sour mix. So we're going to start with sour mix. We're going to do 2 ounces. You can see this on the screen. Cool. 2 ounces of the freshly made sour mix. See, now this is a homemade recipe. This is craft cocktail in the making. This is what gives it the structure, the backbone, and the juice so that you're not just drinking straight up booze. 2 ounces. Biggest ingredient. And for those that are like, oh, you're going to get wrecked on this drink, I'm going to use a 1/2 ounce because it's just smaller, simpler. It's really not that big of a deal. Why? Because it's a 1/2 ounce of all these. So you've only got a couple ounces, like an ounce and a half. Let's see how many ounces are in here. So if we start with our vodka, right, we've got a 1/2 ounce of vodka. Now, the pricing that I came up with, I assumed kind of the least common denominator for most of these ingredients. So for vodka, I really just priced it out as absolute, but I'm using Hammer Sickle, which I think is about the same price. Hornitos for the tequila, because it's a slightly flavorful. Actually, I priced it out with Luna Azul, but they're about competitive in price. 1/2 ounce. So you're now up to a 1 ounce drink. Not that impressive. We're going to do the rum next. $13.49 for this bottle. 1/2 ounce. So that works out to like pennies. 80 cents maybe. 1/2 ounce. So now you're up to 1.5 ounces of drink. Still not that scary. Let's do, no, you know what, I'm going to save this for last. Got a story. So we're going to do blue curacao next. This is what makes the drink. And the reason that I'm making this to begin with, because we had a fan question. I guess they're a fan. Could just have been a drive-by. And they were watching, they being user person 5259, asked, super great, talking about the Blue Hawaii. Only what else has blue curacao in it? And one of my answers was an A.M.F. The Adios Motherf cker. Also, a blue margarita. Obviously, it's a margarita with just using blue curacao. Blue Hawaiian, A.M.F., Blue Lagoon, Alien Brain Hemorrhage, which is a shot. We can make that if you want to see it. Write your comments below. Blue curacao is just an orange liqueur. So if you have a product, a cocktail that calls for orange liqueur, you could just use this instead and it will get that color and then you're done. So margarita, that's easy. It calls for orange liqueur. This is your biggest, most expensive component. Pricing wise, you can range in price. I don't remember which one this was, but So I paid for this bottle of New Amsterdam gin. I'm in New Hampshire. That changes things. We don't have taxes. It was on sale. It's like $16.99. Probably, I priced these out at about $23. Let's see, the gin, I assume $24. So we're gonna do a half ounce. Oh, it's brand new. Now, you could totally change this because folks that love gin, like I do, tend to buy a lot of different gin from a lot of different places, and they get, when I say places, I mean like countries of origin. And then on top of countries of origin, there's styles. If you want to see me remake a video on gin styles, you just let me know. I would also prefer to use, in most cases, Beefeater, because I always have a couple bottles on hand. Because I like Beefeater and my Dorchesters. It gives the body and backbone, and it doesn't taste like Tanqueray, which is kind of absolute ass. I also bought Aviation American Gin Deadpool Limited Edition. The bottles are just different, but it's still Aviation Gin, which is great. I like to use that in Aviation. Aviation is an American gin. New Amsterdam is I can't say New Amsterdam is an American gin. It actually is. It means New York. An American gin has more citrus notes. Seemed like it would go well in here. Why not? We're already bringing in the citrus notes. We got the blue curacao. We get the Sprite, so we're ready to go. Now you're gonna want to stir that up a little bit. I say stir it with a straw or whatever, right? So your sour mix is gonna be at the bottom a little bit. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna top that off with Sprite. Now, I really only want like an ounce or so, and this factors into the price barely. So let's just top that off a little bit with some Sprite. And this I'm gonna stir in, but I'm gonna stir it lightly because it's carbonated, and you wanna keep the jumpy sensation of this drink. The A.M.F. I prefer over Long Island iced tea, primarily because it's blue. Let's be honest with you. It's also fun. We usually do these traditionally after a party or night of drinking, and everybody starts losing the decision-making process. Somebody's always like, "Hey, let's do some Adios Motherfuckers." It's the time when discretion is thrown out the window, and you happen to have a bottle of blue curacao handy. If you don't have Sprite, you can use 7-Up. In a pinch, we've used orange seltzer. We might have even used just regular seltzer and said fuck it because we didn't have any other citrus. You could probably put ginger ale in there. When you've got to that level of the game, it doesn't matter anymore. So let's give it a try. Ooh, sour bite. First impression was tequila. Tequila definitely dominate. It probably could dominate a Long Island iced tea as well. You're not going to get the vodka, obviously. Maybe a little booziness. Because it calls for 2 ounces of sour mix, it actually tastes like a cocktail. It tastes like basically an alcoholic sour mix. Which is to say, it's sweet enough, but also has a nice tart bite at the finish. And then like that tequila at the beginning, a little tequila at the end. Don't really get citrus, obviously, but I don't really get any other ingredients outside of that. It's basically a citrus tequila drink. If you really want it to be more gin forward, use a more structured, big hitting gin. Tanqueray, if you're into that thing. Beefeater is a good one that brings a lot of that herbal, or something that has a lot of herbal punch to it. Not a lot of gins, but Hendrick's that's overkill. It's really expensive for this type of drink. I wouldn't go too expensive on this cocktail because not only is it going to raise your price per cocktail, but it's also going to just be a waste of the expensive product. But the takeaway here is you can make an expensive drink, meaning lots of ingredients to make a drink, a lot of spirit to make a drink, without making the per drink above $5 a drink, which is pretty impressive. If you're in the UK or Europe, I can't help you. Your prices are crazy to begin with. I just wouldn't even want to buy gasoline there. But here in the US, this drink should fit within even the most expensive place, probably under $7 a cocktail. Buy a bunch of them, put them in a jar, build it out as a big ass drink, and just serve them at parties. Maybe for people who are coming in the door, they want to try something fun, they want to get in the mood. That's how you can kind of, if you're looking for a social lubricant and you want something that's not going to be too complicated to make, think about it this way. If I had to make this in 128 ounces, all I have to do is divide out the ingredients in half and just go and pour them out, and I'm good to go. And you can actually do it fairly responsibly because the beverage doesn't have that much actual spirit in it. In total, 1, 2. It's a 2.5 ounce drink, which is pretty much like a Manhattan, an old fashioned, like any of those classics are about 2.5 to 3 ounces. But having a lot of brands and product doesn't necessarily mean it's going to knock you over and you're going to fall down drunk. So there you go. Lesson number 1. Drinks don't have to cost you an arm and a leg. You can make them at home with friends and have a social time. Blue curacao, About $13 for a bottle is gonna go a long way. Substitute it for your orange liqueurs when you wanna have a little bit of fun and color. Plus you learned how to make an Adios Motherfucker, and that's always a good time. So there you go. Remember, have fun with friends at home. Build yourself some cocktails, experiment. Everybody gets to try different product. Get an appreciation for cocktails. You don't always just have to drink high noons. Also go to awesomedrinks.com, buy yourself some barware from my store. That's it, we're teaching you how to drink.